Hello, and welcome to this recording of Discover the Oregon MBA. Thanks for your interest in the University of Oregon Lundquist College of Business and our MBA program. My name is Abby Snouffer. I'm Associate Director of Admissions for the Lundquist College of Business. In my role, I support admissions for all four of our graduate programs that we house here at our main campus in Eugene, and I work directly with our MBA students as well. You'll see on the slide here, Hadley Underwood is my counterpart that also focuses on supporting our prospective MBA students. So we are here to support you from kind of initial interest, kind of fact finding, all the way up to working on your application, post application, kind of every step of the way. So I will be walking you through the information for the Discover the MBA, but we are here for you. So as you have those questions and you want to learn more, reach out to either one of us because you'll be working with one of us as you go through the process. So taking a quick look at our agenda, we are going to discuss why you should get why you should get your MBA at the University of Oregon. We'll do a quick program snapshot, look at the curriculum, help you decide which type of program you should get, whether that be our Master's of Business Administration, the MBA, or the Master's of Management, or another program. We'll look at tuition and funding. We'll also look at the application process and application deadlines. So, quickly moving on to why should you come to the University of Oregon for your MBA? We're going to talk through 5 reasons. There's probably a lot more than 5 reasons, but we'll stick to the top 5 for timing. One of the first ones is going to be our specializations. So we see that a lot of our students come to this program for the specializations that they can apply to. So we have finance and securities analysis, innovation and entrepreneurship, sports business, and sustainable business practices. So each one of these specializations will have required curriculum that aligns with that specialization and have additional kind of elective classes that align with that specialization as well. So typically students are choosing one of these specializations because they're already working in that field or that industry, and they want to develop kind of deeper knowledge bases and credentials to help them kind of progress in that field that they're already in. Or a lot of times we see students that are looking to make a really big career pivot where they've started their career in one industry and they want to move to a completely different industry. So by going through a program like this and focusing your studies in this area, as well as all the other things that come along with being a part of the Oregon MBA, when it comes to the networking and the connections that can help you more easily make a big career pivot and a career adjustment. So when you go to apply to the University of Oregon MBA, you'll have to make a selection for your specialization. So you'll choose one of those four, or you can choose a custom track. So a custom track is completely different. So instead of aligning yourself with a specialization, you can kind of DIY your MBA experience. Through a custom track, you can choose any class that is within the School of Business at that graduate level. So if you don't feel super aligned with any of these specializations, your career goals don't really fall into one of those four specializations, you can kind of custom make your own kind of track that'll best meet your needs as far as what you're looking to get out of a program and also those career needs as well. But our specializations have each one of their own centers of excellence. So these are physical spaces you can see on the slide here. Those are those spaces within the School of Business that houses your center directors, your MBA program managers, industry leaders in those different spaces. And it's also a good meeting space for others that are in your specialization, working on projects and things like that. So we have our Cameron Center for Finance and Securities Analysis, the Lundquist Center for Entrepreneurship, Warsaw Sports Business Center, and the Center for Sustainable Business Practices. So I mentioned those industry leaders. So a lot of our kind of faculty and staff that work out of those centers of excellence came from those industries. So they're bringing their knowledge and their expertise. They're also bringing their network along the way with them. So they have kind of lived in those roles that you're looking to get into and can provide a lot of resources and insights, but also connections to people that you might want to get to know and kind of network with that'll help you kind of get to those next steps. So that's one of the reasons is our specializations in our centers of excellence. Another reason is our cohort-based model. So we keep our cohorts small intentionally, and that is to really foster strong relationship building and kind of collaboration within your cohort. You're going to work really closely with your peers. A lot of our classes are very discussion based, they're project based. And so by building really strong relationships and collaborating, this just providing a bit of a different learning environment than, say, an MBA program where there's hundreds of people in an incoming class. When our average cohort size is like 30 to 50, you're going to get to know everybody in your cohort pretty well. And even within your specializations, as it gets even smaller, kind of in that 5 to 15 range, you're going to know everybody very well. And that can help you to really expand and broaden your network kind of from day one. You can kind of notice from those specializations, they're all pretty different from each other. And so it attracts a lot of different types of people to this program. So it really broadens your network. But then it also strengthens your network in other ways where, that network is yours for the rest of your career. And it's something that you can kind of lean on and lean into kind of even after you complete the MBA and you have your degree. And then the cohort-based model also allows for weekly seminars where you kind of get even in those smaller groups within your specializations to meet with industry professionals, have deeper conversations, and just deeper learning about kind of the industry, how it works, and kind of get some more kind of hardcore networking done. Another reason to be in the Oregon MBA is experiential learning. So it's not going to all just be in the classroom. It's not going to be theoretical. You'll have opportunities to do hands-on experiential learning. One of those ways is through trips. So this is a 2-year program. So in that summer, in between year 1 and year 2, that can be reserved for an international trip. Those locations kind of vary from year to year. Our most recent trip, our MBA students went to London and Lisbon. And then we also have opportunities for domestic trips, and those happen typically in the winter, and then you stay within the US for those domestic trips. Locations I've been to in the past are San Francisco, Los Angeles. We've had a trip to Chicago. You can see on the slide they went to New York City. And so these are truly like networking trips. You're not studying abroad. You're not going to a classroom in a different state or, across the world. You are meeting with industry professionals, kind of aligning with your specialization to kind of get more networking, make some more connections, kind of get the behind the scenes look and kind of getting into those rooms you probably couldn't have access to without being in an MBA program like this. Another way is internships. So we do not require an internship for our program, but we highly recommend it to kind of really take advantage of that in that summer in between year 1 and year 2, because it's a really good way to get additional hands-on experience, particularly if you're doing one of those career pivots. You want to make sure that you're kind of working in something very similar, kind of showing to future employers that you have that hands-on experience in that field or that industry. Professional Edge workshops are available through the Lundquist College of Business at no additional cost to our business students. And it's a way to get more additional training in skill sets that employers are looking for. So it's industry informed trainings based on what employers are looking for when they're posting for jobs. So these are going to be kind of soft skills like sales and public speaking, and or it can be kind of more harder skill sets around AI, systems like Tableau or Power BI. It can happen through kind of training sessions, typically held on Fridays, or we also have immersions that are 6-week programs where you first learn the skill sets that you need to do the project, and then you're working on a real life project with a typically local company kind of working on kind of solving a problem that they have or consulting in some way. So those are things that you can also do to supplement kind of what you're learning in the classroom as well. Those that are a part of specializations will have the opportunity to do a strategic planning project or a capstone project. Again, that's working with a real live company or client. It's split up into smaller groups, working on solving a business problem or some research in some capacity. So that's another kind of hands-on kind of learning experience. And then additionally, Lundquist will have speakers and events that you will have access to as a student in the Oregon MBA. We also have our own career services within the school business, more career services. So this is separate from like university career services, and then you also have additional kind of level of support as a graduate student here at the Lundquist College of Business. So if you're looking to kind of gain some skill sets and kind of fine tune your networking skills, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to do networking. They can help you with that. They can also help with career advising, professional coaching, really creating a kind of structured and strategic plan when it comes to that career search. So making sure that you have things that you know that you're doing that are going to be helpful and beneficial for you getting to that ultimate end goal, which is probably a job at the end of, kind of graduation of the MBA. They also provide funding for internships and travel to conferences. So if you need some additional support to take advantage of some of these opportunities through the Oregon MBA, they can help with that as well. And then one last of our kind of top 5 reasons to attend the University of Oregon is the location. So if you have not been to the Pacific Northwest before, highly recommend it. I'm a little bit biased, but it's a beautiful place, a beautiful kind of corner within the country of the United States. We are 1 hour from the mountains. We're an hour from the coast on either side. And then you'll see in the circle, Eugene's at the very bottom of that, but we have access to the largest metropolitan areas in the Pacific Northwest. So Portland is about a 2 hour drive from Eugene. Seattle's about a 5 hour drive. There's going to be opportunities for site visits and meetings kind of within the bigger metropolitan areas, whereas Eugene is a bit more of a smaller college town. You still have access to the big cities within the Pacific Northwest. And then here's a bird's eye view of our campus. Hard to imagine why one of our school colors is green. You can kind of see it in the picture here. Here is the Lillis Business Complex, the part of campus you'll probably spend most of your time while you're in the Oregon MBA. So taking a quick look at our class of 2028, so our most recent class that's starting pretty soon here, it's going to be a cohort about 30 people. Average work experience is about 5 years of post-bachelor's work experience, and you can see some other kind of demographic information on the slide here as well. But looking at a snapshot of the Oregon MBA, post-bachelor's work experience is preferred. So there isn't a strict work experience requirement, but from the admission committee's kind of perspective, the more work experience you have, the more competitive that you can be for the program. So more the better. But 2 years or more kind of gets you in that spot where you're going to be pretty competitive for the program. Or if you have some really specific or relevant work experience in your undergrad degree that especially relates to the specialization that you're looking to be in, that can also make you competitive for admission. Our program starts in the fall of each year. We do not have off-cycle starts, so every cohort starts in the fall, and this is a full-time and in-person program. So there's not going to be really opportunities for hybrid or online learning. It is really an opportunity to be really immersed, being in the program full-time in person, and that's going to be the experience that you get from kind of the learning environment. We are on the academic quarter system, so if you're coming from the semester system, this is going to feel pretty different and a lot more fast-paced. During a kind of standard academic school year, there's 3 terms or quarters, we call them terms. So a fall, winter, and a spring term. Those are 10 weeks with an additional week for finals week. So it goes by very quickly. So for students that have gone through the semester system, it feels pretty fast-paced and pretty different, but you kind of catch on to it pretty quickly and kind of develop kind of your flow of how you go through those terms. And then we don't have classes on Fridays, so classes are only going to be Monday through Thursday. Friday is kind of reserved for catching up on work, group projects. There might be some opportunities for different site visits and things you can do within your specialization. So you're not going to be you're going to be busy on Fridays, but there's not going to be classes at least. So here are the 2 types of the Oregon MBA. We have our full-time program. Like I said, that's 2 years. You'll see the kind of minimum requirements as far as credits and the core curriculum. within the full-time program, you can choose any of those specializations or that custom track. And as far as kind of eligibility, it can be any 4 year kind of bachelor degree makes you eligible for the Oregon MBA. So you do not have to have a business degree or a finance degree. We have quite a few different types of degrees that are representative within our cohorts. So again, brings together a lot of different types of people and different types of backgrounds to this program. And the other option you'll see is accelerated program. This is still full-time and in person, but you're completing it at an accelerated rate. So instead of 2 years, it takes 15 months. That equates to about 4 terms. So you have a fall, winter, and spring, summer off, and then another fall term, and then you would be done. So you can see there's quite a bit less of those minimum requirements in the core classes. You can still choose to specialize. So you still have the time within the accelerated program to do a specialization. But the one thing that makes us different, to be qualified to do the accelerated program, you do need to have at least 2 years of postmaster's work experience, and you have to have a business undergrad degree. And we'll see, it'll be a little bit clearer on this slide why you need to have a business undergrad degree. You can see there's quite a few less core curriculum requirements for the accelerated MBA. So in theory, you would have completed those in your undergrad degree at a mastery level for those core curriculum classes. So you're able to skip the core classes, move on to the ones that are still required, and move more quickly to those specialization specific classes. So I think that visualization is helpful for why you need a business degree. I'll mention some of the highlighted things that we have on the slide here. Already mentioned the MBA seminar. That's going to be available for our specializations, our students that are going through the specializations to meet within just your kind of specialization. So a smaller group. Typically, it's like a speaker is coming to campus. That's either an alumni, a network connection coming from those different industries that align with the specialization. So kind of a different style of networking where you can ask more in-depth questions and kind of get more insight from somebody that's kind of working in those different fields or industries that you're interested in. The other thing we have highlighted here is sustainable business development. So this is, as far as we're aware, we're still the only MBA program that has this as a core requirement. So every student that goes through the MBA program will take sustainable business development. So that's in addition to if you are looking to specialize in sustainable business practices, everyone takes this class because we know we are developing those next leaders across all sorts of different types of industries. And we want everybody to, when they're going into those rooms where decisions are being made, into those boardrooms, that they have a sustainability mindset when making those business decisions and kind of being influential in that way. So that's another thing that kind of separates us from other MBA programs. The Oregon MBA can be done concurrently with almost most of our other master's programs across campus. Here are the most common ones that we typically see from cohort to cohort. We do have a law school here at the University of Oregon, so we do every year have a couple JD MBAs where they're getting their Juris Doctorate, their doctorate degree in law, as well as an MBA program. So the duration is 4 years to complete both of those programs. If you would do it one right after the other, it'd be 5 years. So you actually save a year kind of in that timeline if you do it concurrently. You would take the 19 MB core courses and then the required JD courses, and you can choose any of the specializations or that custom track for the JD MBA. The other one we see pretty commonly is the MBA MSF. So our MSF program is our Master's in Science and Finance program. That's one of our specialized masters that we have here within the Lundquist College of Business. And so that is going to be another option that people will take advantage of. You complete 2 degrees in that 2 years. You'll have a 34 plus course requirements. The only difference with this one is that you cannot specialize in finance if you're doing the Master's in Science and Finance. There's a little bit too much overlap in those classes, so you can choose any one of those other specializations or that custom track with a concurrent with the MBA MSF. Okay. So, your degree journey. We have 3 programs that are pretty similar on paper, but are pretty different as far as kind of how they're positioned and, kind of the experience you'll have in the program. So we have a handy flow chart here that can make it a little bit easier to understand the differences and really make sure that you're applying to the program that is going to be best fit for you, kind of where you're at in your career, and also the experience that you're looking to get out of the master's program. So as we kind of go from left to right on the screen here, you'll see our MSM program or our Master's in Management program. So the first question you'll see is how many years of work experience do you have? If you're in that kind of 0 to 1 year, the MSM might be a good fit for you. This is designed for really early on in your career. We'll have students that go straight from their bachelor's degree to this master's degree, or if have a couple years of work experience and are looking to kind of go back and get their master's degree. This one definitely focuses on kind of strong fundamentals and a strong foundation within business, but also focuses on management and strategic leadership. So it can help students to kind of launch their career and then also progress quicker in their career because they're going to be more competitive with a master's degree. So again, also it's a specialized master, so it's only 1 year long in duration. So more condensed, quicker to get through, and meant for kind of early kind of career kind of individuals, essentially. As we kind of move on over to the right-hand side, we'll look at, the same question, how many years of work experience do you have? If you're in that 2 to 4 year range, so kind of mid-level in your career, MBA might be the best choice for you. If you're going into that 5+ years, so still we're kind of within our average for the MBA, you might be kind of, eligible for the Oregon Executive MBA. So the next question, do you have 3 or more years of management experience or leadership experience? If you do, then you could be qualified for the Oregon Executive MBA because they do have stricter work experience requirements and management role requirements to be eligible for that program. So the main differences between the MBA program that's housed in Eugene, the Oregon Executive MBA program, again, has those stricter work experience requirements. It's in Portland, so a completely different campus. And the kind of structure of the program is going to be pretty different too. These are both cohort programs, small cohorts, build strong relationships, but the Oregon Executive Program is designed for working professionals. So instead of classes during the week, you would have classes on Fridays and Saturdays every 3 weeks or so. So that equates to about, once or twice a month, you're going to be in class up in the Portland campus. It's still a full-time program, so the workload is still full-time. You're just in class at a reduced rate. So it depends on the experience that you're looking for. Also depends on kind of where you're at in your career. But if you're looking for that full-time, really immersive program that gives you the flexibility to do kind of more career search and specialize in one of the 4 specializations, maybe the MBA is going to be the one for you. If you are still confused after looking at this flow chart and you want to work with myself or with Hadley one-on-one to really kind of dive more deep into these programs and which is going to be the best fit for you, we are here for you and we can kind of help out with that. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. So let's look at tuition funding for the Oregon MBA. So at the top there, you'll see the tuition, and this is per year. So remember, the MBA is a 2 year program. So keep that in mind. And then resident means that you are a resident of the state of Oregon. So, and you've had to be in Oregon for over a year. So if that's not your case, then you're going to look at that non-resident tuition line. And there's also going to be those additional kind of fees that are associated with attending this program. The next question is, funding. How do I pay for this program? One of the first ways is going to be through the merit-based scholarship that is awarded from the Lundquist Admission Committee. So when you apply to the program, the admission committee, after you go through the process, will decide if you are going to be recommended for admission. At that same time, they'll also review for merit-based scholarship. So it's important to put together a really competitive application first for admission to the program, but they look at the total merits of your application, and the more competitive your application, the more you can earn in that merit-based scholarship. So that is one of the first scholarships that you can earn with admission to this program. From there are going to be other scholarships that you can apply to through the University of Oregon. UO has a general graduate scholarship that's open to all grad students. That requires additional application, and you have to be admitted to that program, to a grad program before you can apply. So that's something you can do kind of secondary. The Division of Graduate Studies oversees all of our graduate programs across campus. They have their own suite of scholarships that are available. They also have a list of external scholarships and grants that they've kind of vetted. So that's a good resource as well. If you're an international student watching this recording, our International Student Scholar Services has scholarships devoted only to international students. So that's another thing to look into. There's also going to be GE or work study opportunities. GE stands for graduate employment. And graduate employment is essentially graduate assistantships. We call it something else here because we like to be a little bit different. But a graduate employment position gets you kind of tuition reimbursement, additional stipend, and other benefits. I will say that those are very competitive opportunities. So you don't want to rely on that solely to fund your program, but it is a good opportunity if you're able to get one of those GE positions because it can definitely help with funding for sure. So let's talk a little bit about the Oregon MBA application. Here are the materials that you're going to need to prepare for the application. We'll need to see your most recent and up-to-date resume. We'll need to see transcripts from all of your higher education institutions that you have attended. So say you start at one university and then you transfer and complete your degree at another university, we'll need to see transcripts for both of those institutions. We'll also have two required personal essays and one optional essay. This is a really important part of the application process. A lot of your materials are facts and numbers, but the personal essays really give a lot of insight into who you are, why you're interested in this program, what are your motivations, what are you hoping to get out of it. But because we have a cohort-based model, what are you bringing to the cohort that will add value and will add benefit? So what's like your unique perspective? So the personal essays are a big component. We offer a test optional application. So no one will be required to submit GMAT or GRE test scores. There might be circumstances where we would highly recommend it. Or if you have GMAT or GRE test scores and they're strong scores, you could apply with those, and that can make you even more competitive for admission. But again, test optional, you do not need to apply with test scores. If English is not your native language, we'll need to see English proficiency test scores. And the last piece of the application materials are references. So you're going to require to list two references, professional references, that the admission committee reserves the right to reach out to if they need to gather additional information before making an admission decision. The last step, so if you're invited, is the interview. So we're meeting on behalf of, with individuals that are working on behalf of the admission committee to conduct that interview to, again, gather some more information that you typically can't quite get across through those application materials. So that would be the final step of the application process. So let's take a quick look at application deadlines. So these are set up to give you kind of good goalposts as far as when you want to submit your application by. So early decision, November 15th. If you're the type of person that just wants to know your plan far out in advance, this is a good one for you. If you are looking to move across the country or across the world and you need more time to kind of get everything in line, get your ducks in a row, that could be a good deadline to shoot for. And that's about, 2 weeks, or sorry, 2 months out from an application opening. Priority scholarship is going to be January 15th. So those additional scholarships I mentioned a couple slides ago will have deadlines typically in February and March. So you want to make sure that you get your application no later than January 15th to find out the status of your application with enough time to still apply for additional scholarships. So that's why we list that as a priority scholarship deadline. An important one for any international candidates that are watching this recording is March 15th. That is the final deadline for international candidates because of the additional steps that need to be taken by international students to get I-20 and visas approved. March 15th is going to be your cutoff to apply to this program. Final scholarship consideration will be May 15th, and then that final deadline to get into the program for fall 2027 will be July 23rd. You'll also notice that the decision notification deadlines as well. So if you apply by one of those deadlines that you see on the screen here, you are guaranteed to find out admission decision no later than those dates. So if you apply by November 15th, you will hear no later than January 9th about the status of your application. However, I do want to point out we have rolling admissions here at the Lindquist College of Business. So when you submit your application and it's complete, it will start to be reviewed by the admission team. So there's no real reason to wait for any deadline, and you don't have to wait for a batch review of everybody that submits at a certain deadline. We try to streamline it as much as we can. So likely, if you apply by those deadlines, you'll probably hear back sooner than the decision notification deadline. So, with that, that is the information that I'm sharing with you today. So, thank you so much for watching this recording. If you are still here, thank you so much for um, listening to the recording. If you have other questions that you want to talk more kind of one-on-one with either myself or my cohort, Hadley, we are here to support you kind of every step of the way. Can really kind of dive into your own kind of specific situation, your background, your experience, and kind of really help you to first determine which program is going to be the best fit for you, and then how do you kind of curate a really competitive application. So we are here to support you. With that, I will let y'all go. Thank you so much for watching this recording, and we hope to see your application soon. Bye.